Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher, back for part 2, or I guess I should say, take 2. Apparently my headphones were connected, um, so it picked up living room noise, and not me. Sorry y'all. How was everybody's week? Awesome, that's really good to hear. Fingers crossed that this has sound. I was really surprised they were still connected, considering I had taken them off, like, out middle of the day yesterday, but apparently not. But they're definitely not connected now, I double-checked. Alright, so we've got haul, we've got some Q&A, we've got homework plans, so let's get right on into it with the Q&A. So the first question/comment comes from Organic Granny. Her first statement was that we were talking about strange eating habits, and she said, well, as a child, she used to eat fruit cocktail in a certain order, with cherries being last. I actually do that as an adult. The cherries are my favorite part, so I save them for the end. And then her question: how long have you been stitching, and what is the thing you feel you've improved on the most? I've been stitching for about 6 years now. It was somewhere in like late May, early June of 2014 that I started actually stitching in earnest. Before that, I'd sort of dabbled but never finished anything. And the thing I've improved on the most, I think, is probably picking patterns that are more to my liking than not. And I think that happens to all of us when we start out as stitchers. We want to try everything, and then we sort of figure out our tastes. So I think I've kind of figured my tastes out. So, all right, moving right along. Weren't a whole lot of questions this week. Lynn McGill asks, where do I find the website for the book patterns? So it's on Etsy. It is Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts is the shop name. That's the designer's logo. And then you'll want to follow both her Instagram, her regular one, which is the Sapphire Mountain, as well as the Stitching Book Club Instagram tag, because that's where the book club is where the discussion happens. But she kind of does updates and previews on both accounts, so highly recommend following both. She did release the colors and the fabric. That way we can go ahead and get those kitted up, since we are still in the middle of all this good old-fashioned COVID-19 stuff. Which, by the way, if you're one of the people protesting the social distancing, you're the problem, not the solution. If you want to unfollow me for saying that, please feel free. So she went ahead and released it so that we could try and get it ordered. The fabric is chocolate raspberry. I think it's a Witchelt fabric. It's 3685 is the color it's closest to. So if you're wanting to dye your own. I did order the called for fabric, but I have 2 colors in reserve as well, and I'm gonna decide which one I like better. But her comment was you want it to look like wood. Because that was sort of her inspiration behind it. So I've got a couple that I can look at. Lois Hogue, thank you for correcting me. I always get primitive needle and primitive hair backwards. So the question last week was what my unicorn charts were, and I said Witch's Hollow and Black Skies, and those are from Primitive Needle. And I think that's everything. Alright, so my haul this week. So the first thing actually came in last week, and I forgot to show it. This is from the Baudelaine Library Collection from DMC. The chart is called Venice. It was one I got on Etsy. I really like the pattern. I'd be curious to see if there's more in the series. One thing that frustrates me with DMC is they do all sorts of like pattern things like this and books and such, and they don't release them in the US. They're only available in Europe. And that frustrates me. And I don't understand it. So I don't know if somebody who does can explain that. If you can, I would love you forever. If there's more in this series, let me know. Because I really like the look of the Venice one. It was almost a Mania start, but I decided against it. The pattern itself is massive. I mean, it's... Oh. So not overly conducive to working from the actual pattern, so that's going to mean doing some good old-fashioned visiting of visits to Staples and such for a to make a working copy once, which that was the main reason, probably the biggest reason why I opted not to, because I didn't want to get out and go do that. So I got that. Then, and I know last week I said I wasn't really doing needle minders, and then what do I do this week? Needle minders. So I ordered from Gina's Unique Boutique because somebody on Facebook shared this awesome minder that they're using for Secret Garden, and now I have to use for Secret Garden. But it's garden gates, and they open, and you can put the needle inside it. Whoop. Ta-da! How awesome is that? Now I need my needle back, because that's my one for Three Musketeers. So, super excited for that. And then I couldn't just order one, so I got this cute little sparkly octopus, because I do love octopi. And I may actually end up not using this as a minder, but instead, I may start wearing it as just a decorative little doodad. But we'll see. Strong needle. If not, it'll go on probably Seize the Day. Then I got this cool one that's the Kraken. Which would be great if Stitching Book Club ever decides to do 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Hint, hint. I've actually never read any Jules Verne, so really and truly, unless it's... I don't want to reread Great Expectations. I will sit that one out if we do that one. Which is fine. I'll use that to catch up on Pride and Prejudice. I figure eventually there's going to be something I'm going to say, no, I'm going to hard pass on this one. But, and that's when I'll finish that one. And then Gina sent this really cute seahorse nail minder. I don't know if she sends everybody a seahorse. I don't know if she sent that just because my washing machine is being strange. Okay, that was weird. I guess it's fine. It went back to normal. I don't know if she sends everyone a seahorse or because I ordered 2 ocean-themed ones, I got a seahorse, but I got a seahorse. And then my lovely friend Mandy sent me 3 project bags, and I totally blame her because she sent me my first one. I'm like, oh my god, I love project bags! This is her fault. But she sent me these, which was a very nice surprise to come home to on Friday because I had a really rough week. So she sent me this cool one that's got, like, foliage, and I actually may end up using this one for Secret Garden. It's a little jungly, I think, for Secret Garden, but I may end up using it for Secret Garden anyways. She sent me this really awesome llama one, because I have llama lump planned to do for G at some point, and, as a surprise. So she did this one so that it's not see-through, so it can be a little more secretive. But I thought it was super cute. I like llamas. And then this one, which is already in use, as you can tell, which had galaxy fabric on it, for Lunar Princess. Okay. So, ba-da-da. Alright, so the next thing, let's talk about homework and WIP updates. So, this week's homework, and then also what I worked on. I worked on, started and finished part 1 of Lunar Princess Sal from Sleeping Luna Designs. Who, congratulations on the engagement, by the way. This is on, we think it's Midnight Ride from Under the Sea Fabrics. It looks like Under the Sea Fabrics. I got it in that whole big stack of fabric from my friend Shannon, excuse me. And for a long time I was calling her Shanron, and so now it doesn't always come out like it should. But it didn't have any tags. So I think it's Leslie's. So I'm pretty sure it's Midnight Ride, and that was what Leslie thought too. If not, it's close enough. I did one minor change. I'm doing the inner moon motifs in Moonstone by Krynex, so they'll be sparkly. I thought about doing it for the Mars symbol for Sailor Mars, but I ultimately decided against it. I only wanted a little sparkle. So, and I may even end up taking that out and using the called for instead. We'll kind of see. Fortunately, it's not a huge area, so if I do restitch it, it's only like 20 stitches. So, but part 2 comes out on Friday, so that's exciting. Okay. All right. Then I started Chinese Zodiac, which was for a pattern you were coerced into. I used that one for the pattern you were crazy to start, because normally I'm not big on dark fabrics, especially a dark opalescent fabric, but the way everything's currently set up in our apartment, it actually works real well fabric-wise, so I'm actually okay with it. So I started Chinese Zodiac. Ba-doot. That's the back. This is the front. Because the designers coaxed me into doing it. And I will be working on it again this week for homework. I just dropped that miter. It was very exciting to start that at lunch that day at work. Like I said, this was a rough week. Alright, then I worked on Strawberry Fields. And I actually need to pick 2 colors for it. My Pelican Gray is not in the bag, so I need to first see if I've still got Pelican Gray, and then if not, I need to find a substitute. And then the red that's supposed to fill in the house was too close to the color to the Country Redwood, so I need to find a new color for that. That's where I got it. I'm trying to kind of work it in fourths, so I'm working on this quadrant here. Although there will probably be some house fill-in as I go. This is on Winterbrook from Pictures Plus, from Under the Sea Fabrics. I am just all over the place today, guys, with names. I think it's this whole having to record the video twice. This one will also be in this week's homework. Then I worked on Three Musketeers, which I will be finishing, probably not fully finishing today, but I will be pretty close because part 4 came out. So this is where I'm at. So I did the all for one, or one for all, and this little thing, and so I've still got the 4 fleur-de-lis. Well, this part here repeats. So I've got this part here, and then I've got the big, really pretty cross in the middle to do. And then it'll be done, and I'm kind of sad about that. So we're gonna work on the cross after this. Alright, and that was for stitch on a whip that contains a book or is based on a book. And then finally we had to stitch on a piece that we struggle on. And so I did with the needle. I'm almost done with the center block. So it may be pulled out again for this week's homework, it may not, probably not. But I got the house built, essentially, so it's just got the windows and the roof. And then I got the white and the cloud done, so I've just got one more color around that. And then the barn and the silo. So, getting close, getting close. right. So that was last week's homework. This week's homework, the first task is to stitch on a whip with a gingerbread house or something you can use to make one. So I'm going to use Strawberry Fields because you can use strawberries to make candies, which can go on your gingerbread house, or you can use like gummy strawberries. I'm going to be using Chinese Zodiac for number 2. Work on a whip that contains something you could have as a minion to do your bidding. And there are all sorts of different animals that you could have as minions. So I'll be doing those. For Stitch on a Whip that defines you as a person, at the moment, I'm going to be working on quilts. Now, this one's completely subject to change. It's going to depend a lot on my mood. But I went ahead and I'm thinking quilts, partially because I haven't worked on it this month, partially because I really do love the colors in it. They're sort of funky and weird and offbeat, and I'm sort of funky and weird and offbeat. So that's my current thinking. And those are all stitched 300 on a piece. Then we've got one task that's a color task. So we're supposed to stitch 100 in purple. Which, weirdly enough, even though purple is my favorite color, I don't actually have anything that has a lot of purple in it actively. There is some in Chinese Zodiac, but not 100 stitches worth. At least on the parts that have been released. So, I'm going to penalty stitch on Beauty and the Beast. So here's where that one is. My goal is going to be finish out the flower. And then that'll give me my, I think, second time to work on this one. I wanted to do 3 assignments, and I think I've only done the 1, so... Alright, so that's kind of it for me. This is a shorter video. The first one was a little bit longer, not by much. But everyone have a great rest of your week, and I'll see y'all next time.